Hold, please. Hold, please. Hold, please. Hold, please. Hello, everybody. Welcome in. Welcome in. Thank you so much for coming. This is another Boss Babes. And the next person I'm going to bring up is a real big boss. Affectionately known as Dr. Roselyn Aker-Black is a native of Rome, Georgia, and currently resides in Washington, D.C. metro area with her husband. Dr. Roz received a BA in psychology from Fisk University and completed a doctoral degree in clinical psychology at the American School of Professional Psychology at Aretha University in Washington, D.C. Dr. Roz is an award-winning psychologist and has over 14 years of experience providing psychological services to children, families, and couples in the nonprofit, government, and private industry sectors. Currently, she is the Chief Operating Officer for the Goal Grinders Foundation, a nonprofit organization that provides leadership and entrepreneurial training with a STEM focus for at-risk middle and high school girls. She also serves as a psychology professor at local universities in the DC area, training nurses and the next generation of clinical and forensic psychologists. As a consultant, she serves as a subject matter mental health expert, supporting the Juvenile and Residential Management Unit of Detention and Removal of U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, and as an expert panel in the development of Health Resources and Services Administration, Bright Futures for Women's Health and Wellness Initiative, Healthy Relationship Tool Domain. Dr. Roz's media experience includes psychological consults with the Anderson Cooper Talk Show, the OWN Network's docuseries Unfaithful, Huffington Post, Fox 5 DC, NBC4, and a regular guest appearance on Howard University's WHUR 96.3 as a relationship expert. Dr. Roz is a series psychologist on TV One's limited series For My Woman and the host of the Dr. Roz Show podcast. Moreover, Dr. Aker-Black's work has been published in international journals. She is a sought-out keynote speaker, commencement speaker, and advice columnist for her advice on practical relationship functioning, human trafficking, intimate partner violence, and organizational behavior and management. Dr. Roz is also a TEDx speaker and presented the topic Surviving Betrayal at the TEDx U Street Women's Conference in 2019. A copy of that talk is in my description box below for this series. She is the owner of Dr. Roz Therapeutic and Coaching Services, a boutique organization that is dedicated to help people function properly in all relationships. Dr. Roz is also an author and co-author represented by 13th and Joan Publications. Some of Dr. Oz's awards include the Prince George's County Social Innovation Fund 40 Under 40, the Daily Record's Very Important Professional Under 40, and Maryland's Leading Woman Award. Two-time winner of the Daily Record's Top 100 Women of Maryland Award, the North Atlantic Region Exemplary Citizens Award, and Fifth University's inaugural Talented 10th Award. My goodness. Does she not make you feel like a slacker or what? I know I feel like one, but let's bring her up so we can talk to our boss babe. Without further preamble, this is my soror, your co-host for today, Dr. Roz.
Hi everyone.
Hello. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited. I've been talking about this incessantly for the past few weeks. So I am super excited to have you on this channel. I'm super happy to have you. She's got her chapeau on, dedicated to her dad. We're both daddy's girls who lost our dads. So I want to just jump right in. We were talking a little bit backstage about being a daddy's girl, and I told you my story about me and my dad and one of the pivotal moments that kind of led me to where I'm sitting right now. So tell me about young Roz before she became a doctor, when she was just Mr. Aker's girl, his baby.
Young Roz was a mess. Young Roz had to be in everything, had to do everything, drove my parents crazy. I am the youngest of 4 girls. So you can imagine what life was like for my parents. My dad being the only male in the house, and we drove him insane. But we were all daddy's little girl. Like, he just didn't make a difference with us. My father was in the military, so with me being the youngest, I didn't have the opportunity to travel with them, because when my mom had me, she's like, you know what? I am not traveling the world anymore with all these girls, and so we settled down in my parents' hometown of Rome, Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
And that's primarily where I was raised. I was raised in Rome, Georgia, and stayed there until I graduated from college. And yeah, Young Roz was a mess. Young Roz was in everything.
Yeah, Vern's junk closet. Welcome in. She says, "Me too. I'm a daddy's girl."
Oh my goodness. Yeah, like completely. A funny story. I had just gotten married, but my husband and I had a commuter marriage because I was working on my residency. So I was in Pennsylvania and he was here in Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
And it was snowing and I got a flat tire. I called my father all the way in Georgia, like, come and rescue me. And so my dad was just like, Roz, did you call your husband? And I was like, oh, no, not yet. I called you first. Because I was so used to just being able to depend on my parents, depend on my
Mm-hmm.
father. Like, if there was an issue, like, he was truly our Superman. My mother was truly Superwoman. Like, they just, I'm very grateful, especially being in the field that I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very grateful for my upbringing because my parents were just amazing. They met in 8th grade.
Oh my goodness.
They never had another boyfriend or girlfriend. They got married. My father was drafted into the Vietnam War, so they got married right out of high school, and they were married for 47 years until my father's death. So, they just, I'm lucky because I got to see a beautiful, healthy relationship. I got
Mm-hmm.
to see people working through their issues, in a way that it didn't affect my siblings and I. Because even though I never really saw my parents fight, I'm not dumb. I'm married now. I know that I know there were arguments.
Yeah.
I know that they didn't always, there probably were some issues, but we never saw it. My sisters and I, we never saw it. My parents were really into having this cohesive home. And so I'm grateful. Young Roz was able to flourish in that because I knew that I could explore things. I knew that I could try things and it not be an issue if it didn't work out. It's okay. I knew it wasn't like, a pit of falling into if I tried something and it didn't work. So I'm very grateful for that. And my father was an entrepreneur. So my sisters and I, we all get our entrepreneurial spirit from him.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a serial entrepreneur. He had several businesses before he passed. And so my parents were, my parents and my grandma, my grandmother too. They are hard workers in the community. So that's where I get, that community work from, being in the community. It wasn't until my father's death that I didn't realize how many people that he had helped throughout, his time on earth. The stories that people told. I was just like, wow, I knew he was amazing to us.
Right.
I just didn't know that he was so, just amazing in the community as well, because he was just our dad, and so it was the norm. So yeah, young Roz was a hot mess. Young Roz did all kinds of stuff that I was a good kid, but I drove my parents crazy in terms of wanting to do this and wanting to do that, and them figuring out a way of trying to help me reach my dreams and my goals.
Yes, yes. So we got some sorors in the house. I want to make sure I shout them out as well. We've got Bridget from The Beach is Better, OG with lit. She's saying hi to everybody. And yes, safe storm so far here. It's snowing, but it's not that bad yet. It's just a nice white powder. And then I see my sins. AJ's in the house. Adrian James. Hey. So I hope you guys are okay down there. I know she's in DC area as well. So Burns calling you a naughty girl, Dr. Ross.
Yes, I was doing all kinds of stuff, good stuff, but I just drove my parents crazy. I was in everything that there was to be in band. We had this all black group, which was interesting for my hometown. Very interesting, called Color Connections, where we did like all these plays about Africa and Egyptians, so I had to always be in that. I was in a singing group at one point, like just everything. Young Ross was doing the most, and probably driving my parents crazy. Now that I think about them trying to juggle the schedule of 4 daughters, because my sisters, my 2 older sisters, they played basketball. My sister right above me, she and I were in the band, so we were in the band. So we drove our parents crazy with our schedules, ripping and running for us.
I'm sure, but they loved it. I'm sure they loved it. So P&Q Grind says, hello, Dr. Ross. AJ says, I was hell on wheels as a teen. I'm not proud of it, but that was a problem.
Listen, nice girls seldom make history. So sometimes you gotta have a little fire to you to make your mark in this world.
Absolutely.
Nothing illegal, but a little fire to you.
A little something never hurt nobody. I tell everybody, my father was crazy, but my mother is certifiable. So on any given day, you will never know what you get. I'm a mixed bag.
Got it.
Literally and figuratively, I am a mixed bag. You never know what you're gonna get with me.
Yeah.
So Average Joe, welcome. He's saying hello. Thank you so much for coming. Guys, don't forget, Dr. Oz is a relationship expert as well. So if you have any questions, feel free to throw them into the comment chat and we will address them as they come in. I'll stop intermittently and grab a question if there's one in the comment chat. But I want to actually start off with something a little heavy because it's been on my mind, and I said, and I want to address it, but I want to address it and talk about some of the things that you talked about with your TED Talk.
Oh, yeah.
So, unfortunately, last week I found out through the miracle that is Facebook. I mean, I tell you, sometimes it's a blessing and a curse to be connected in such a way.
Yeah.
But I found out that one of my dear friends, who was like my little mentee, you know how you have that one girl that's like, you know, her struggle, you know, her hustle, her drive. So you kind of try to help her along. So we met at a job that we both hated, and we both left. And then as I, grew in my career and I was able to give opportunities to her, I would bring her along. So I actually worked with her on 3 separate occasions. And I found out on Facebook that unfortunately was a victim of domestic violence.
Oh, no.
And she had moved for an opportunity to Virginia. She had just had a baby. Her baby's 4 years old.
Mhm.
And I struggled because when I went on her page,
Mhm.
the day I guess that it happened, I'm seeing all of these comments from her that are not typical of the person that I knew, you know?
Mhm.
You can tell that there was a person who was struggling with something, dealing with something. And I've been haunted by that ever since because I feel like had I seen that earlier,
Mhm.
maybe I would have been in a position to call, to reach out, to help. But when you get kind of in your own bubble and dealing with your own things that are going on, and things that have hurt you, which is why I want to talk about what you spoke about in your TED Talk, because a lot of that went into me kind of going into my own bubble and knowing that I have to deal with it, and I have
Mhm.
to deal with it now, and I can no longer put it off.
Mhm.
But every time I get to that point where I'm like, okay, I know I got to deal with this. Let me go ahead and tackle it. Something from the outside kind of draws my attention away. And so my question to you is twofold. One, what do you say, or what can you say to a woman who is suffering in silence right now, dealing with possibly a domestic incident, or just feeling isolated and alone because of the circumstances around us and the fact that we can't be as social as we normally would be? What do you say? How do you start that dialogue? How do you open the door to kind of making sure and doing a welfare check to make sure your friends are okay and secure?
First of all, I'm very sorry that that happened to your friend. This pandemic has really shown, lifted the veil of what people are dealing with in their homes,
Yes.
right? Because we're stressed, and if our foundation was already shaky, then this pandemic didn't help at
Right.
all. Just didn't help at all. But let me offer this resource: safety at all costs. So if you are in a position of where domestic violence is taking place, get to safety. Get to safety first, and we'll figure out the rest, right? So make sure you're in a safe space. Make sure that you have a safety plan. You're developing a safety plan and your escape. And in any city across America, any city, you can dial 211 and get local resources for your area. If you suspect that you have a friend that's going through something, and sometimes we do get caught up in our own stuff, I mean, because we all have our own stuff going on, and
Right.
sometimes we can miss it. We
Mhm.
can miss it. I would encourage you not to feel guilty about that. If they haven't explicitly come to you and say, listen, this is what's happening to me, help
Mhm.
me, and then you turn a blind eye. That's very different
Right.
from not knowing that something is taking place. So not, I would encourage you to manage your emotions around that, because you're taking on a burden that you can't control.
Mhm.
You're not in that house every single day. She probably hid it very well. Um, and a lot of abuse is emotional.
Mhm.
So we don't see the emotional scars. We
Right.
just don't until someone chooses to tell us or someone chooses to confide in us.
Mhm.
So to you, Shannon, I would say release yourself from that guilt of not knowing and feeling like you couldn't do anything for her or you weren't there for her, because
Mhm.
you can't do anything about something that you don't know about,
Right.
you know. But now that you know, and then you also have to do it in a safe way, making sure that you're safe,
Right.
because we don't want you to be at risk, right? We
Mm.
don't. I'm not sure. Was he physical?
Yeah, he killed her. He killed her.
Oh,
So she's gone now, and she leaves her 4-year-old daughter. She was young. She was young. She was not even 35 yet. So she's a baby, she was a baby. She had her whole life,
yeah,
ahead of her. And I think part of the whole thing is, she was isolated from her family. She moved to another city. So, that was one part of it. And
yeah,
then I think, there's a stigma attached to it, because, we as Black women are always taught, you got to stand by your man, you got to stand by your man, you got to stand by your man. But sometimes, standing by your man puts you at risk.
yeah. We don't. I tell people all the time, don't stand by abuse. That's very different. When you are no longer safe, that is not a healthy place for you to be in.
Exactly.
I don't, when I see couples, when I work with them, I don't push separation unless abuse is occurring. Because
Hmm.
at that point, everybody needs to be safe.
Right.
Everybody needs to be in their safe corners, because even the perpetrator may
Hmm.
not feel safe in that situation because they don't even trust their own actions.
Hmm.
They don't even know how far they're going to go.
Right.
And this is very hard for most people to hear, but even perpetrators were probably victims at one point. And so they're just functioning in their default behavior.
Hmm.
They're just doing what they know. The most talked about situation, Chris Brown and Rihanna.
Hmm.
And people couldn't understand why Rihanna was with him 3 days later and they were on vacation, because they both were raised in an environment where that type of behavior was okay.
Hmm.
So it was their default behaviors, what they knew. It was their observational learning. It was
Hmm.
what they knew. So it didn't seem like it was problematic to either one of them, based
Right.
on the stories that were both told from both sides of those individuals, that there was abuse in the home. So it was
Hmm.
normal to them. And so sometimes when we see these perpetrators, even though as adults we're like, you should know right from wrong, we all we all fall back to our default behaviors. Think about when your father taught you, if your father taught you how to drive, right?
Oh yeah, he did.
Yeah, you probably still drive the same way that he taught you how to drive.
Yep.
Check the mirrors, put the seatbelt on, look
Hmm.
around before you pull out. You're still doing those things because
Hmm.
that's what you observe.
Right.
You're still probably tying your shoes the
Hmm.
same way that your mother taught you how to tie your shoes, because
Hmm.
that's what you were taught. So
Hmm.
these become our default behaviors. And it's hard to break away from that. It's
Right.
hard to break away from that. And I don't say that to fault victims.
Hmm.
I don't say that, and I don't say that to um, have empathy for perpetrators, because murder is absolutely problematic. But I try to get people to see a complete picture.
Hmm.
He probably wasn't a monster to her the whole time.
Hmm.
And that's probably how she was able to say, oh, okay, We just had a bad fight. We just had a bad day. We're
Mhm.
going to get through this. He's stressed at work. She
Right.
probably made excuses for him,
Mhm.
which is what a lot of battered women and men,
Mhm.
they're battered at the same rate as women. I did my dissertation on it. They just don't talk about it.
Right.
They are battered at the same rate because of the embarrassment and stigma surrounding it. You
Mhm.
get beat by a girl, they don't talk about it. And so if anyone that's watching this or gonna catch the replay, dial 211. If you're in this situation, dial 211 to figure out your local resources, to figure out where the safe shelters are, to figure out how you can get away from this situation. Because if he'll lie, push, and scream at you, if you see any of those kind of red flags, gaslighting you, you see any of that, that is not a safe situation.
Mhm.
You can't, and this is where we have to deprogram our community. You
Mhm.
can't stand by what's not safe for you.
Absolutely.
You have to always be in a space of safety. And when things are unsafe, you have to make the decision to be the advocate for you. You have to make the decision to say, this does not work for me.
Right.
Yeah. I'm very sorry about
Mhm.
that
Thank
happening to your friend. And, you
you.
know, hopefully everyone around her can heal from this situation.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I was telling one of our sorority sisters, because she knows her as well. I was like, the main thing is let's circle around this baby and
Hmm.
make sure that this baby has everything that she needs, because the one thing she needs more than ever has now been taken from her.
Yeah. She needs a
So
village. She
she
needs
needs
a
a
village.
village to come around her and to protect her and to nurture her.
Is he the father?
I don't think so. I don't
Okay.
think so. This story is still unfolding, and they're doing an autopsy, so we're not going to know, much yet. But this is not actually the first time that somebody that I was close to has died at the hands of their so-called protector. Last year, one of my good friends, she was also a Virgo, so she was my Virgo sister.
Yes,
But
Virgos. I'm a Virgo too.
yeah, Virgo's in the house. But I went to her wedding. We all hung out together as couples. And she lost her life to her husband.
Mm.
Brutally, while the kids were home late at night. They had just come home from a party, and it's still wreaking havoc amongst our lives, because he's sitting in jail awaiting sentencing and the trial and all of that, and we're sitting in limbo because we don't have closure for what's happened and how she was taken from us.
Yeah.
Why she was taken from us, and we may never really know.
Yeah.
But and that also eats away at me, because I'm like, the many times I've been in situations where they've hugged me, she's hugged me, he's hugged me, we were all friends, we were all hanging out together, we went on trips together, and all the while he was Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. He had this whole other part of
Yeah.
him that we never knew existed.
Yeah. And they exist.
Yeah.
They exist.
Mhm.
And sometimes you're not going to know.
Right.
Sometimes you're not going to know. And you can't question yourself, like, how do we not see the signs?
Mhm.
Because people are just that manipulative that they know how to hide it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it is very unfortunate that it
Mhm.
happens, but we have to be advocates for ourselves. When
Mhm.
you see it, even when I was dating, I always told a guy, if you hit me, it'll be the last time that you'll ever see me, and you better hope my daddy doesn't kill you, because
Mhm.
that's the role that he absolutely played in our
Right.
life. You think you want to raise your hand? You're not just dealing with me.
Right.
You agree with a whole lot of folks, so you might want to rethink that.
Exactly.
And I think, we have to set our standards when we meet people. We have to say in the beginning what we will and what we will not tolerate.
Right. Absolutely.
I tell people this all the time. They think that I'm crazy, but when I met my husband for the first time, I told him, listen, I desire to be married. I'm not going to give you more than about 3 years for you to decide whether I'm the right person for you. And if it doesn't work out, that's okay. You and I can be beautiful friends. This is not giving you an ultimatum. This is just me telling you what works for my life. And being a girlfriend for 20 years is not ever a goal of mine. Like, that's just not going to work for me. And so I think it's okay to give people standards in the beginning, because you're setting the tone for how they treat you.
Right.
And when they break those standards, when they break those boundaries, you then have to be your own advocate, and you have to make a decision. And staying in a situation is making a decision. It's making a decision.
Absolutely.
So you have to say what is best for me, what is healthy for me, what works for me, and you have to make the decision of doing what is best for you. And if it's unhealthy, that's going to be the best for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I just want to say hello to some new people who came in while we were talking. The Positive Pusher says hello, Dr. Roz in chat. It's me, Watson. Yes, honey, says hey.
Hi.
Let's see. Nails by Nicole. Yes, hi, sweetie. She says hi, like and share. Thank you so much for that. Midnight Paranormal, thank you so much for coming. New friend to the house, thank you. Vern says, exactly, get out and save your own life. Absolutely, absolutely. DOD, welcome in. Peace to the beautiful Bella. Thank you, sir, for coming in. I appreciate you. ACAS, hey ladies, I hope you're all having a wonderful and blessed day. Sending love from Kentucky from ACAS. Thank you so much for that. 2 times since ACAS, period. Oh, ACAS said, I'm a gay dude, but one thing I have always said is that any kind of abuse, physical and or emotional, should never be tolerated in any relationship, period.
Absolutely. Absolutely, ACAST. I mean, when you feel that strain, it's time to go. When you don't feel safe, it's time to go. Like, there should never be any negotiation about your safety. Because there are resources, whether you're afraid to leave because of financial situations, whether you're afraid to leave because you don't know what they'll do to themselves. Like, they may scream, if you leave me, I'll commit suicide. Your life is still more important than theirs.
Exactly. Exactly.
Especially if you have a legacy. Still more important than theirs. You got to be here for your kid.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No tea time. Welcome in. Thanks for coming. Paranormal had officially Coco. Okay, so no questions yet, but I want to talk a little bit about the TEDx talk that you gave and those 3 things. First of all, kudos for you for doing that.
Thank you.
Guys, if you don't know what I'm talking about, she did a TEDx talk, and I put the link for it in the description box below. But she talked about how a lot of the betrayal, which is kind of what we're talking about right now, is kind of rooted in these 3 things. And when you said them, I was like, yeah. You know how you have those
aha
moments from Oprah? I was like, yeah, that's That's it exactly. So I don't want to, go through the whole thing because I want them to really watch the TED Talk because it's really, really fascinating. But if you can touch on the three things, like just, bullet point them for us. And then guys, I really want you to watch that after this live and see it. It's about 15 minutes, but it's going to really it's going to be the best moments of your life in terms of making that mind shift to say, I've got to kind of think differently. I've got to kind of move differently. If I want a different reaction, if I want a different outcome, I kind of have to change how I'm approaching this.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. But yeah, doing the TED Talk was very, very just a pivotal moment for me. It was something that I always wanted to do. And because doing a TED Talk is like the Super Bowl for speakers, right?
Yes.
And to be accepted to do one and for someone to want to hear about me talking about surviving betrayal was just a feeling that I can't describe.
Mm-hmm.
So getting into this whole idea of surviving betrayal, first you have to figure out what that betrayal has done to you. You can't heal until you know what's affected. And so many of us are walking around in pain and we don't even realize it.
Mm-hmm.
We don't even realize it. We're walking around with an attitude. We're walking around mad at people. We're walking around with a negative disposition because someone has done something to us. And we're letting that affect our lives. We're letting that kind of dictate how we function in this world. And so, I'm trying to talk about it without giving them points of the TED Talk because I do want them to go watch it. Definitely go watch it, spend your life. But I do want people to understand that you absolutely can heal from any bad situation.
Mm-hmm.
But you, again, the healing is your responsibility. You can't wait for someone else to tell you just that their apology isn't going to heal you. It's not going to serve you because you'll still have that hurt. Right? And so we sit around and we're like, if this person just apologized, it would make it all better. But it's not going to make it all better if you don't even deal with what it's affected. So how has it affected you? How is it showing up in your life? How are you functioning because of that hurt? That's where the healing process begins. So if you're able to get to the core of the hurt, so say for instance, just throwing something out there, your significant other cheated, which to me that feels like the ultimate betrayal for most people because especially if they're sexually cheating, because now you're putting my life at risk.
Right.
So that feels like you care nothing about me, you care nothing about our family, you've thrown all caution to the wind, you risked it all for what, for 5 minutes basically. So dealing with that betrayal, you really got to go through, how did that hurt you? How did that make you feel? Did it make you feel unworthy? Did it make you feel unloved? Did it make you feel like you weren't good enough? And if that is the core of what that betrayal did for you, then you got to find the evidence that that's not true. Because regardless of what someone does to you, you are worthy, you are loved, you are desirable, you are worth someone investing in you. But when we feel these betrayals, those betrayals like that takes all of that away from us. And sometimes we don't even recognize it. So if we are walking around feeling like we're unloved, we are walking around feeling like we're not worthy, then we're acting like that too. We're showing up in the world like that too. So it may manifest like this. We don't apply for that job that we always wanted. We don't reach our goals because we feel like nobody cares about us. We kill our dreams because someone else has betrayed us. So living in that betrayal and not healing from that betrayal is devastating to the potential of who you truly could be.
Right.
And here's the truth. We all will experience betrayal at some point in our lives.
Mm-hmm.
We can't get away from it. It is reality. It is what it is. It.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the earliest betrayals that we could probably all remember is like being on a playground and someone's like, "Don't play with Susie. She's got the cooties." Right? And so now you got like 10 of your classmates not playing with you. And you're like, what happened?
Mm-hmm.
So really, in terms of talking about aggression, women, we're relationally aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
So what we do is that we break down relationships. So now if Cindy was the one that spreaded the rumor about Susie, Cindy has broken down 10 relationships for Susie. She's turned 10 people against Susie
Mm-hmm.
just by stating something.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what are the ramifications of that?
Right.
What will that do knowing that 10 of your classmates do not want to be around you?
Mm-hmm.
So what happens as parents, what you have to do is that not build self-esteem, because that's where we go wrong. People believe like, oh, you have to build a high self-esteem. And you hear all the time that person has low self-esteem. That person has you can see the downtrodden on them. No, self-esteem is great. Self-esteem should be worked on. But self-esteem isn't the end all to be all, because self-esteem is how we feel about ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
What is it that we know about feelings? They change.
Mm-hmm.
They change.
Mm-hmm.
In my commute here in the DC area, sometimes it takes me an hour and a half to get to work. Believe me, I've gone through about 30 emotions in that hour and a half.
Mm-hmm.
I might start out on the high, turning my music on because I'm sitting in traffic and I'm sitting with Beyonce and they're having my own concert. Then I do a little gospel because I'm like, I need the Lord to get me through this day. Then somebody may cut me off and now I'm mad.
Right.
So all of that can happen in 10 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
which is why you can't rely on feelings.
Exactly.
You can't rely on feelings to kind of guide you. You can't rely on feelings to tell you who you are. What you have to rely on is your self-concept. And that is the belief that you have in yourself. So we don't talk about that enough. And one thing that I encourage parents to do is build that self-concept. Build the self-concept in your children, and the self-esteem will follow.
Mm-hmm.
Because the belief that you have about you will not change. It is
Right.
stable. So I may make a mistake, but I still think that I'm a good person.
Right.
The belief that I have about who I am, about
Mm-hmm.
my morals, about my values, that's stable.
Mm-hmm.
That's not changing.
Mm-hmm.
So my feelings can change, but my belief about me, 9 times out of 10, it's not going to fluctuate
Right.
in how I feel about me. And so you have to get to the core of that. So if you are out here feeling unlovable, unworthy, feeling like you're not good enough, if you have the imposter syndrome because somebody has done something to you,
Mm-hmm.
let me get you to really focus on your self-concept. Who are you? Listen, I get in the mirror every single day, and I do affirmations. I don't care if I'm looking rough. I don't care if I don't feel good. I get in the mirror and I say, Roz, you a bad girl. Roz, you will slay this day. Roz, they can't take it from you. You earned it, Roz. Go out here and get what's yours. Roz, do what it is you got to do. Roz, what's your purpose? Roz, why were you put on this earth? Even when I'm feeling my worst, I got to pump my own self up. I got to be my own advocate to push for me. I got to advocate for me, for my fulfillment. I got to advocate for me. And it's so easy. It is so easy to not do it. It's so easy to do it, to not do it. But you have to. And it's a choice. It's a choice. It's an absolute choice every single day to see yourself as the individual that desires that you have everything in you to get what it is that you would desire in this world. There are no barriers to us, but the barriers we put on ourselves.
Amen. Oh my goodness.
We
It
limit
really
ourselves
is.
way more than other people do. I mean, I've lost weight now, but my heaviest, yeah, praise God, 100 pounds down, over 100 pounds down. But my heaviest weight was 340, right? But I've never in life thought that was going to stop me. That wasn't a barrier for me because listen, I'll dance you like I can move. I would.
Yes, you can.
I'll dance you with my heartbeat. I was on a dance. I was on my dance team in college. Like it wasn't a barrier, And so people are like, well, how did I used to hear all the time, how did you find a husband? How did you? I was like, well, I ain't find him. He found me, sugar. But it was because my confidence was my sexiness. It was my sex appeal. And confidence isn't arrogance. Confidence is my self-concept. I always believed that I was going to be the best that God saw in me. So I always believed that I had these shoes that I had to fill. So I got to get up every day and do it. Because He gave me everything I need to be able to do that. And so if I don't do it, then I'm just squandering my talents. I'm squandering my gifts. I'm squandering the great things that all these people in my village that they love, that they put in me, I'm squandering it. I don't deserve the right to do that.
No.
I just don't. I deserve the right to get up for myself and show up for me. I have to show up for me every single day. And I think sometimes we get stuck because we don't know how to show up for ourselves.
Say it again, sister. Say it again.
We just don't. And it's because we listen to messages of what others have said about us. Stop. I'm here to tell your audience today, stop. What's the message you're going to give yourself? What are you telling you? What are you telling you every morning? Because guess what? If you were telling yourself that you weren't worthy, if you were telling yourself that you ain't worth it, guess what? That's how you're showing up in the world. And that's how people would treat you. That's how people would treat you.
Absolutely.
So I know I went on a tangent. I apologize.
No, you perfect.
I get a little I just have this thing about feeling empowered. I feel like it's my life mission.
Yes.
To tell people that you are great, regardless of your circumstances. I mean, listen, look at our president, our new president, Joe Biden.
Oh, the new one.
The new one. Yes, the new one. I mean, look at the tragedy that he has endured. Think about what he has had to tell himself to stay resilient.
Yes.
Regardless of the politics, this man lost his family. He lost his family. He lost his daughter. He lost his wife. And his 2 sons were injured. Then he lost his son. I mean, this man he lost a lot. But his purpose, what he was put on this earth to be, was our president. And he didn't realize or materialize his goal until the age of 78. So you can't give up on you, regardless of what other people do. You can't give up on you. You can't do it. You can't do it. Sorry, I went on a tangent.
No, that was beautiful, perfect. I didn't want to stop you at all. Burns said the first time is enough where your life could be taken away. Unfortunately, some stay for a long time. Absolutely. It is unfortunate because they feel like that's all they're ever going to get. This is the pinnacle of where they're supposed to be in life. And that's not it. But like Dr. Oz just said, you got to have you got to be your own internal cheerleader. And Burns, by the way, is the YouTube cheerleader. So everybody on YouTube knows Burns is our YouTube cheerleader. She gives us positivity and motivation to go on and do wonderful, beautiful things out here in this YouTube streets. But I tell her I am her cheerleader. So anytime I get to, big her up and say, Burns, you are doing a great job. Like right this minute, is in my spirit. So I have to go there. You're doing an excellent job. I love you. You are the reason I get up and get moving and do this thing every single day. It's because if my cheerleader can do it, then I could be a cheerleader for her and so many others who come into my space. So thank you for that and all you do. Positive Pusher. Hello, sweetheart. Thank you so much for coming. Beach is better with it. Yeah. I got a new nickname for her too. She's now called the Soul Snatcher. That's our soror.
Oh, nice.
On live yesterday, and I was watching her, and she said something. She was like, "Cause honey, I'll snatch your soul." I was like, I felt that in my spirit. I was like, Bridget, you are now the Soul Snatcher.
Listen. That's the only way it works. That's the only way it works. I tell people all the time, if your soul ain't happy, you ain't happy.
That's right.
You out here living a facade. So our soul is listen, it is that internal barometer that says, listen, either it's working or it's not.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. Don't make me cry. No, it's true. I don't want to make you cry. I just want to make you smile. And I want you to know that you are appreciated for everything you do. Baby says fantastic. That's beautiful. Yes, Soul Snatcher. Come on with it.
I love it. I love it.
Gather you together.
Gather yourself. I love it.
All right. So getting back to the formation of Dr. Roz, when did you know that this was your calling? Because, like I started telling you in the beginning, I was a marketer. I still am a marketer by trade. And I've made a lot of companies a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I just felt that all the work and energy and things that I was pouring into people, I could actually be doing that for me.
Yeah.
And to stop giving and showing up for everyone else when you need to do you first, because they're doing them, right? Yep. That's why they're in the business. That's why they're doing what they need to do. That's why they hired you, because you are going to work for them.
Absolutely.
So I said, I have a business too. Who's going to work for me?
Yeah.
I'm the chief cook bottle washer of BrownGirlBella's LLC. So if I do not show up and show out for myself, and put it out there for myself first, nothing I do for anybody else is going to matter.
Yeah.
Because it's about me first.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't have left to give to other people. So I said, you know what? I need to make the switch. I need to turn that off, whatever it was that I was doing for them, and turn it on for me.
Absolutely.
So I
have a
like, look in the mirror. Here's my mirror right here.
Yes, indeed. Me and the mirror are like best friends. And look, not just because I'm an AKA, but me and that mirror, we have real life conversations. When I'm a hot mess, when I've done some stuff that I gotta check myself on, I'm in that mirror having that conversation because I need to look at me.
Yes.
I need to look at me and see me. I need to look at me and see what I've done. So people say talking to you, and here I am, the psychologist, talking to myself and answering myself. People say that's crazy, but you know what? Sometimes you got to have that internal dialogue.
Exactly.
But back to your point, people are like, Roz, you know a lot of people. You should do this. You should do that. And I'm like, Roz promotes Dr. Roz first. Because I'm the brand.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the brand.
Right.
If I'm not promoting me first, I ain't doing nothing else, and that's not, I mean, all of us, you are your own brand. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And so if you are not out here working and giving your best foot forward, you can't do anything for anybody else. You just, how I became a psychologist is a funny story. I went to Fisk University. I initially went to school. I majored in political science because I was going to be a lawyer.
Okay.
I don't even know why I was going to be a lawyer. It just sounded good at the time. And I just felt like, yeah, I'm going to be a lawyer. It just sounds good. But it was like, none of this makes my soul happy. Like, I'm not a person that likes to sit up and argue and, try to beat down somebody. Like that just isn't me.
Mm-hmm.
So it was I was going into my sophomore year. And I was like, this political science thing it's not working out for me. And I took a psychology course. And I was like, the light bulbs came on. And I was like, this is my life. This is what I should be doing.
Mm-hmm.
And when I looked at the trajectory of my life up until that point, it's everything I had been doing. All my girlfriends would come to me and tell me their issues.
Mm-hmm.
I was a peer mediator in high school. There was a talk show in my hometown. It was just on our local television station, but it was called the Yes Show. Excuse me. So it was a youth empowerment show, mm-hmm. And so people would call in with their questions, and we as a youth we would answer it. So I had been doing that all my life. I just didn't realize that I was in the wrong field trying to do it. So then
Mm-hmm.
I got into psychology, and Dr. Sheila Peters, one of our sister Greeks, she's a member of Delta Sigma Theta, was my professor, and the woman was bad. She was the first Black woman to graduate with a PhD in psychology from Vanderbilt University.
Wow.
Bad. I mean, still bad to this day. Just bad.
Mm-hmm.
I remember going in class and I was like, how do I become you? Like she just was phenomenal. And the way that she taught us was in a way that it was going to help my community.
Mm-hmm.
And so I latched on to her. Like, what are you doing? Because I want to do it. So I began. She was actually doing this research project, this research study, comparing juvenile girls against girls who were not in trouble, who had no legal issues.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just so phenomenal, the research that she was doing, that I was being able to, looking at the differences, but recognizing the only difference was just environment and opportunity, and then figuring that out. And then I traveled with her that summer to Carnegie Mellon University, and we did a internship in criminology. And so I was like, this is fantastic. And so they had this whole internship program. It's a six-week program where they wanted students from HBCUs to do the research and talk about this whole criminology aspect. Mm-hmm. And then the second half of that internship was at the University of Maryland at College Park. Mm-hmm. And we did this criminology work, and my eyes were open. I was like, I got to help my people. Mm-hmm. Like, my people need me.
Yeah.
So that began the journey. That began the journey of me saying, what is the best way that I could help my people that I could ensure that we aren't falling by the wayside, that we're not being left behind, that we are getting the help that we need. Right. And I remember getting back, going into my senior year, and I recognized I didn't want to do research. So those internships taught me I didn't want to do research, that I wanted to be more face-to-face, that I wanted to do direct clinical services. And I remember just feeling like very despondent, because I was like, I don't want a PhD. Like, I don't want to, I don't want to do the research part. I want to get in there and work with people, right. Direct services. And so I remember I was sitting in I was sitting in like it was her office room, Dr. Peters' office room, and I was like, what am I going to do? I don't think I can be a psychologist because I'm not here to do this research. And she was like, what are you talking about? And I was like, I just want to do direct services. Like, I don't want to do the research portion. I was like, that does not speak to my soul at all. And she's like, well, you could do a PsyD, Roz. And I was like, wait a minute, tell me more. What is that? What's a PsyD? And she's like, it's a doctorate of psychology. And I was like, oh. She was like, yeah. She's like, you do learn how to do research because obviously you still have to do a critical research project, which is comparable to a dissertation.
Mm-hmm.
But you learn like the nuts and bolts of how to be a psychologist like very early on. And you start seeing clients and like you start doing the work because I was just so ready to do the work.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember it was a week later. And I was like, I checked out, some schools. I think I want to go to DC, but I don't know. Before I knew it, Dr. Peters and then Dr. Raymond Wimbush, who is another phenomenal psychologist. He ran our Race Institute at Fisk University, and I think he's at Morgan State now. They had written my recommendation letters and sent my recommendation letters off before he sent the application off.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, when I tell you, this is what I love about HBCUs, because when they see you got potential, they're on it. You know what I'm saying? They invest in you. And, I tell people it was amazing because I went straight from an undergraduate program into a doctoral program. And I was like, I don't know if I'm ready for this.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember Dr. Peters saying, I don't want to hear that. You ain't got no choice now. You're in there. Go make it work. Go make it work. And yeah, and that was the start of that. That's how I got into this field. That's when I started doing the work with our babies. I've worked with the whole gamut. So I've worked with babies 0 to 5 who were born addicted to drugs.
Mm-hmm.
So I've worked with that gamut. I've worked with perpetrators, abusers, sexual abusers, and I've worked with victims. So I've worked with that gamut. I've done court-ordered work. I've worked with clients who are in the legal system.
Mm-hmm.
I've done that work. That's very challenging.
That's a whole other show.
Yeah, because they don't want to be in services, right? They don't want to be there. They're court-ordered. So it's kind of like trying to find that end. Like, listen, I'm trying to keep you out of jail. I'm trying to help you get your kids back. I'm trying to help you get out of this legal system. Help me help you.
Right.
Yeah, so I've done the gamut of it all. I've worked with families that are in crisis,
Mm-hmm.
and this is like going into homes.
Right.
Going into homes, like doing their work. And I love it. It's all a joy for me. Because when I see that people can make that difference, when I see that people can when they can see themselves in a light that society has not placed them in, but when they start seeing their true essence, when they start seeing who they truly are, the person that they can become. People always think that change takes a long time. It doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
It really doesn't. 90% of change is awareness, being aware of what's going on with you.
Right.
The other 10% is just making a choice and doing it. Because once you become aware, you're no longer ignorant to the fact. You have to make a choice at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always said not doing something is making a choice.
Right.
It's making a choice. So, I love this field. I love doing this work. And this work has given me a lot of opportunities. Doing the limited series for TV One for my woman was just kind of being the series psychologist on that was just kind of like an eye opener of just how much I can move in this field.
Right.
And I hope that they bring it back. I know that they do For My Man, and a lot more people are familiar with My Man because, they've had several series of that. But For My Woman was just as powerful, and looking through those cases and analyzing why people were committing crimes of passion for the women that they loved and how did they get there, the journey. Like I just fell in love with the whole process. So this, like, it's given me a lot of opportunity doing that for TV One. I When Anderson Cooper had his talk show, I did a psychological consult for him because there was a young lady that I was working with where he was trying to do like some youth intervention, and just providing him with what I thought, providing his producers with what I thought would work best in that situation was just an amazing opportunity. So it's really opened the door to really do a lot of fantastic and great stuff for me.
Wonderful, wonderful. So some more new people came in since we were talking. So I want to shout them out and make sure that they're acknowledged. So Put Your Mind to It says, hello, everyone. Hello to you as well. Watson said, people need to learn to talk more and stop using their hands. Absolutely. DOD is always saying, smash that button and share the live stream. Yes, please do. Please do. NQ's World, hello to you. She's saying hello to everybody. Thank you so much for coming and joining us. So guys, if you have a question for Dr. Roz, feel free to put it in the chat. AJ said, love her HBCU experience. The professors really do invest in the students. Yeah.
I wouldn't have it any other way. At
Yeah.
this point, I've experienced both, but my experience at Fisk University, it changed me. It changed my whole world. It changed me to be around people that look like you and to have healthy competition. Healthy competition. Everybody's rooting for you to do your best. Like it just was an experience I can't even. Amazing experience.
Yeah, it's hard to put into words all of the things that you are able to get from having that HBU experience. I did not go to an HBCU. I went to Long Island University, Brooklyn campus, but I kind of feel like even though I went to a New York school and quote unquote PWI school, it was in the heart of downtown Brooklyn, which is my hometown. I grew up, I was raised and born in Brooklyn. So Brooklyn was all I knew. But even as I went to school, I thought about, maybe I'll go to Cheney, or maybe I'll go here, or maybe I'll go there. But, two things happened, which really kind of like said, okay, you gonna stay where you at and make it do what it do. One, I was in a co-op program in high school. And so my very first job as a high schooler was on Wall Street working with Irving Trust, which is now the Bank of New York, which is
awesome.
America. So, I mean, that was my very first job, working on Wall Street, working, in an environment where, you had to be, corporate at all times. And the person who put me there was like, you already dressed like you worked at Wall Street. When I came to school, I was in, my pencil skirt dresses and my boots or my shoes. And, remember, this is a kid who at 12 wanted a Chanel lip gloss. So I was really like the other kids.
You were ready for it, ready for them already.
I was ready for prime time, baby. But I tell you, I was ready. So, but my mother worked in corporate America, and my mother was a human resource recruiter. So I kind of grew up in that environment where I went to work with her, and that's back in the day when they had like the typing pools and whatever, and you had to take the typing test, and I'm in there just writing my name. My name is Shannon. My name is Shannon. And I got so good at it that I just started going. And one day her boss heard me typing. Said to her, like, oh my God, you're gonna hire that girl, right? And she's like, no, she's 12. That's my daughter. That's my daughter. And she's like, typing like that? I'm like, yeah, she's typing her full name like 50 million times, but she's typing her full name. But I got into that mode where I'm gonna learn how to do this. I'm gonna learn how to type. My name is, and I would just type my name. You know, who was that? What was I? Like, girl, you talk about thinking you was a top ish. Yeah, Shannon thought she was it. Okay.
You were, and you are.
Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, but that's because, as you said in the beginning, you had people to pour into you and to say that you are who you are. You know, my dad always called me his princess. So my mother always was like, okay, you walk around here like you're royalty. And I was like, I am. My dad said I'm the princess.
Right.
So I must act and move accordingly.
Yes.
And it's a way to you. Like that, but that's how I kind of felt about myself and still feel that way about myself. And so even when I am on camera, like I'm very comfortable, even though, hey, J.O., I just saw my friend J.O. pop up. Hello, thank you so much for coming. He says hello to you, Dr.
Hi.
But when I kind of, decided this is the path that I want to take and do makeup, I said I always want to come on when I'm first starting off barefaced, as barefaced as I can be, because I want you to see what my skin looks like before I even start to put on makeup. So I always make a conscious decision to start off barefaced with just my skincare, because I want you to see that it does not take a lot to make up yourself. You don't have to lather it on. You don't have to be like the Instagram people and like carve out your nose and really highlight under your eyes, because hey, that may work for them and their aesthetic, but it's not practical in real life. In real life, I do not have an hour to put on makeup. I do it for you guys because, we're talking and we're gabbing and, I'm explaining things as I go along. So it takes longer because, the more you're on, the more revenue you get and blah, 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 blah. So I need to stretch it out. But in my time, it takes me, Shannon, 10 minutes to get ready. And actually, you've seen it because when I came on, I was just like, oh, let me put my face on real quick. And 10 minutes later, I was like, pow, here I am.
Yeah.
So in my own time, I know what it takes to do this. But I also know that a lot of what we portray out there and a lot of the things that we do is one, learned behavior, because if you grew up where, in my situation where my mother was always, putting on makeup, my grandmother was always putting on makeup, my family members were always, putting on makeup. So I always saw, makeup as an accessory to who you are, but not the soul of who you are. Because there's a difference.
There is a difference.
Makeup is used to enhance what's already there. What's already there is good genes, plenty of sleep, lots of water. So you need drinking water all the time.
And moisturizing.
And now, honey, I done got me the most bougiest thing of all times. Hold, please. I got a facial steamer for Black Friday.
Oh,
because on my show, everything's got to be rose gold.
Facial steamers are the truth,
baby. And then when I saw Jada Pinkett Smith talk about her steamer, I was like, see, now y'all gonna believe me when I tell y'all invest in your skincare.
Yeah.
Because she does it several times a day. And I didn't have that kind of time. But now I got time because
And it gets into those impurities in your skin. It opens your pores up. It's amazing.
It is so amazing. It's so amazing. And I was like, it's a bougie gift for myself, but I'm like, if I don't invest in myself and in what makes me happy and what gives me contentment and fulfillment, then how can I sit on here in all good consciousness and tell you guys, oh yeah, do what you like, do what makes you happy, do it, and if I don't do it myself,
Absolutely.
you gotta walk the walk to talk the talk.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So that's why I wanted you on here, because you, Dr. Roz, you walk the walk and you talk the talk. Okay.
Thank you. Thank
So
you.
I so appreciate you for being a Boss Bella babe and for coming on and for schooling us all on how to take care of ourselves from the inside so that I can help them take care of the outside.
Absolutely.
But you gotta take care of that inside. And so, we thank you so much for being here. And I can't let you go without digging into that makeup bag, baby. What you got for us today?
I'm ready. I'm ready. Okay. So look, I brought up my whole makeup bag. Okay. So first off, I start out with this. Can you see it?
Jade rollers. Lovely.
Because you know what? Sometimes, and if you guys follow me on social media, you see I'm probably posting at like 3 in the morning. Like I'm always working. So I don't get the sleep or hydration that I probably should. So this little roller rolls all that out for me. It rolls those wrinkles away. It takes away the puffiness for me. So I absolutely adore that.
Mm-hmm.
Then let's see, my cleaning. I like Clinique. Can you see it? So
Yeah.
I use their facial because it's just I have really sensitive skin, so it works for my skin.
Mm-hmm.
I use that and their toner. However, I use Aveeno for my moisturizer.
Okay.
And the reason why I use Aveeno, can you see it? The reason why I use Aveeno is because it has sunscreen in it. So
Mhm.
I listen, the higher the SPF, the better for me because
Yes.
I have a sun allergy. So
Mm.
being outside in the sun, I've got to have a hat on, or you'll see me maybe sometimes carry an umbrella because me and the sun, we are not best friends, and I sunburn really easy. I sunburn in like 20, 30 minutes. So I have to make
Yeah,
sure I'm taking care of myself.
exactly.
Down to
Yeah,
my
I know a lot of people say, let me stop you there, because a lot of people do say, oh, you're black, but you have that melanin already in the skin. Now you have to protect that.
yes.
Okay. So we need to protect ourselves, and especially now, and it's going to seem weird, but especially now that we are inside, you are getting a lot of rays that you don't even realize you're getting from the computer, from the windows, from being in front of mirrors and being in different environments of light. All of that is hitting your face. You still need to protect that.
Absolutely, absolutely,
So
absolutely.
I love that you're saying that, because I want to make sure that that's reinforced, because a lot of people forget because they think, oh, we're not outside a whole lot now, so we don't need that protection.
And it's year round. I wear sunscreen year round.
Year round, absolute kudos. That's what you're supposed to do.
Year round.
Year round.
If
None of
I
us get a
don't,
lot of sleep.
oh yeah, none of us do. None of us do. So I want to highlight my girlfriend, May.
Okay.
Can you see that? Mayon Bryant.
Ah.
She's here in the DC area, but when I tell you, she is the queen of makeup artists, like
Ooh.
the queen. And when I say that, she used to do makeup for the queen, Aretha Franklin. She was the marketing director for CoverGirl's Queen collection, Queen Latifah's collection. She's the marketing director for that. So she blends her own foundation. And listen, when you think about foundation, you think about, well, I won't say a brand, but how it gets on people's clothes and it's all smudgy and it looks cake on the face. I have it on today. It's very light. I don't even feel like I have it on.
Nice.
I don't even feel like I have it on. So her name is Mayon Bryant. I'll spell it if somebody wants to put it in the chat. If you want to check her out, it's Maeion Bryant, Bryant Cosmetics, and she'll even travel to you to do your makeup. She has a mobile van, so she doesn't even have to come in your house. She'll do your makeup at any location you ask her to come to. But I love her because what she does is that she also uses that mobile van for charity. She goes out to the community, to shelters for women who just need a little pick me up. And she does a makeover for them. And she is just fantastic. I mean, she is fantastic. She has a lot of celebrity clients. But the one that because I loved everything about Aretha Franklin, right? Because she was the queen, right? So the one that sticks out the most to me is Aretha Franklin, and then I know she's done some stuff for Gary Sinise, and she's fantastic and the most humble person that you could ever meet. Most humble person, but she is a genius.
Wow.
Genius. She didn't test anything out on me. She looked at my skin and matched my foundation. Like in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Like she's a genius. Wow. Like and like it doesn't smudge, it doesn't get on your clothes. It doesn't look caked on. Like she's fantastic and affordable.
Oh, that's important.
Affordable.
That's important. Hey, Daddy Days. I saw Daddy Days came in saying hello to everybody. Hope all is well. Thank you so much for coming.
Hi.
Oh
and
my goodness.
Gotta have a good lippy.
Yes. Come on, Lippy.
So I love the Lip Bar.
Yes.
They're Black owned. They're
owned.
You can get them in your local Target or online or in their flagship store. But I love this story. But I started, I love them because when they were on Shark Tank.
Yes.
And the bald-headed guy, I think it was the bald-headed guy, was like, nobody, roaches, like, he called them, he said that they were like roaches or whatever. And I was like, he was trying to do a funny, but you don't call Black women roaches.
No, you didn't.
So I said I will support them until I can. So I love Lip Bar. They're affordable. I think it's only like $13.
Yeah.
I've had it for maybe a year, probably a year and a half. So it lasts. And they have fantastic colors. Fantastic colors. So that is the extent of my makeup bag.
I love it. She got on, guys, just to give you a little backstory. When she first came on, we were talking backstage before I introduced her and brought her up, that she's like, I'm a minimalist. What you see right now, she wears that to church. She wears that to sorority meetings. She wears that going out. That's her look. That is her signature. And I was like, I love that because one, it's a classic, you can't go wrong with a red lip ever. I have several in my collection, and y'all know.
And I don't know what else to do. Like, I don't know how to do all the fancy stuff. So, like, this is my 5-minute face, my 10-minute face, my 15-minute face. If somebody said go do your makeup for an hour, this is what you're getting because I don't know how to do the fancy eye stuff.
Come on, Dr. Roz. I'll show you some of my tips and tricks.
Yes. I need to learn because I'm like, goodness, that is fantastic. Like, I love that people can wear like different shades and like this that I have on. I think it's MAC that I have on. I think it's a nude. And I think that I have worn this for 13 years. Yes. It's naked. It's naked. I think that I have worn that for 13 years because I was like, that's perfect. It just goes. It gives me a look, but I would like to do some color, and I don't know how to do it, so I don't fool with it.
Okay. Well, we're going to ease you in, baby steps, Dr. Ross, baby steps. We're going to ease you in. So let me get back to the chat. That blue moon says hi.
Hi.
P and Q said, I enjoy being here and listening to Dr. Raj. You all have a blessed day. Thank you so much, P and Q. Thank you, Sorors. You just motivated me to make an overdue phone call. All right.
Awesome. Yes.
All right. That is awesome.
Awesome.
That is awesome. Thanks to this positive and vibrant chat, changes happening during this live. Yes.
Oh, I love to hear it. Awesome.
A Positive Lifestyle says thumbs up for the amazing host. Hello, Queen. Thank you so much, Positive Lifestyle. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you all so much for coming. You have been amazing. Burns is laughing. Yes, this has been a great time. A great talk with a great woman. Nightbot says, become a Bella and get Bellafied. That's right. Come on, join. Hit that join button and become a member today. Membership starts at only 99 cents. There's 3 levels. And, we have a great time here putting on makeup and getting Bellafied. But most important, I love bringing you boss babes that I know in my life who have really made an impact on me in some way. And, Dr. Wright, I always, watched you from afar and was like, yeah, she you know how you just know a person, that aura that comes around them. It's like she's one to watch. She's a superstar.
Well, thank you.
So I always kept, my eye on you. You also give a fierce party. Let me just tell you, that pre-Founders Day party got me together, honey. My whole life. I enjoyed myself thoroughly.
Oh, I was so worried because it was virtual, and I was like, I didn't know what it was going to turn out to be, but I was like, we're going to party because we got a soar in the White House. So whatever we got to do to make this work, I'm going to make it work.
Yes. I got all of myself together. So I partied with you. Then I partied during the Metro. They also did a virtual on Friday. And then on Saturday, AJ and I went over to the Mid-Atlantic Regional.
Oh, okay.
Section, and we partied with one of our sorors from the Mark, and I had a ball. I said, this is the most fun I've had virtual.
Good, because you didn't have to go nowhere. You ain't got to travel nowhere.
I could dance, I could party, I could have my sips of champagne, and don't have to worry about driving home or nothing like that. I said, I had me a good time, and I danced to every genre of music known to man. I think we hit from like old school 70s, 80s music that your mother used to turn on when she was getting ready to clean to the new school stuff. I had a ball. I had a virtual ball. And that is just, that's just great because, we don't get the fellowship a lot, now.
We don't, but virtual has made it easier for us to be with each other.
Absolutely. And, reach out and make those connections, touch somebody that you have not spoken to in a while and just do a check-in and say, how you doing? How's everything going? Just wanted to make sure, everything's all right. You need anything, it doesn't hurt and it can only help.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with reaching out and touching someone. Brass Man came in saying, hey, Sister Brown Girl, the beach is Bretta out with it. And everybody just wanted to stop by and say hello. Well, hello to you, Brass Man. Thank you so much for coming. We are at the end of our segment. Do we dig into your makeup bag and get everything out of there?
We did it all.
Just wanted to make sure we got all the goodies out your makeup bag. But I thank you so much for being here,
Thank you
for
for
being
having
a
me.
boss babe. Continue striving and doing your very, very best, which I know you will do because you're a daddy's girl. And, daddy's girl don't make no slouches, honey. We make a
None.
way out of no way.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
he ain't raised no slouches. So
At
thank you
all.
so much for your time and for being here. Thank you, everyone who came in. Like I said, please, 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 please spend a little time and go and watch that TEDx talk. I'm telling you, it's going to be the best 15, I think it's about 15 minutes, right?
It's 12. 12
12.
minutes.
Okay, so it's the best 12 minutes of your life. Okay. Watch it and then hit me up in the comment section and let me know what you thought. I love hearing from you guys. Dr. Roz is Dr. Roz on just about every platform known to man. It's in
Yeah.
the description box as well as in the thumbnail. So all of her handles are there. Feel free to reach out to her and chat it up. But for now, you have been bellified. You guys take care and we'll see you back here soon. Thank you, Dr. Roz. Thank
Thank
you, everyone.
you.
Have a great day.
Bye, everyone.